Hello, this is Titti Vanhala, an associate trainer for Art to Ride, and this is a video showing pole work with Pöly. I started with in-hand work. It's not on the video here though. I did maybe 5 minutes of it. It went really well, and I got his back activated really nicely. And here you see us starting with a little bit of walk work on the lunge. I did not do so much of walking on the lunge. I just made sure that he was relaxed and he was stretching down like that, and that his back was working and all that. But I decided to go to trot quite quickly that day, as you see here, because it's November or end of November by now, and it gets dark very quickly. So I wanted to show you. I wanted to film some of the pole work at least before it got too dark to see anything. So that's why I was not working in walk so very much. And the in-hand work was anyway really nice to begin with. So he had activated his back and all that. And I asked him for quite soon a canter because he was feeling quite energetic that day. And I thought, okay, well, we can work in the canter a little bit more than today. And as you can see, he's settling down to it quite nicely and starting to work in the canter as well pretty well. He's here still a little bit too fast for my liking, but he's stretching on nicely, and he's starting to use his back very well. So that's all positive. It's all looking quite good here. And here I asked another canter, and as you can see, he was the transition was maybe not the nicest, but and he's quite energetic that day. So that's great. That's great also for the pole work, for the harder work, that he has more energy. So that's great. And as you can see here, he's starting to relax into the canter as well. And I'm also asking him to move on when he puts his head down, so that he would. But he finds it difficult, as you can see. Every time he stretches a little bit deeper towards the ground, he really struggles keeping the canter as energetic. So that's really hard work for him still. And here you see what I do. I shorten the lunge line, and I'm stopping I'm not walking too much anymore with him. Because I wanted him to calm down with his trot, so slow a little bit and work a little bit better and not rush around like he did earlier there. And he does respond quite nicely. So he starts to calm down with his stride and not just run around like an idiot. And here I'm starting to move him towards the poles, as you can see. And I'm sometimes a little bit too forward with my body language there. And the first goes over the poles are not as nice, but that's also due to his energy levels that day. But that's also a nice day to do pole work when you think that your horse is has a little bit energy and can't seem to concentrate on working. Then it's at least it works with Pöly extremely well. Then he has to mind his feet and step. And here you can see how the two last goes over the pole. He got his stride wrong, and he ended up having to really stretch himself. But it's nice to see that he really pushes himself to go over the poles, so he doesn't stumble across them. He just in this case, he's really trying to lengthen his stride to make the poles, and pretty soon he gets the first stride over the pole okay as well. So I'm pretty pleased how he can correct himself in a way and still make the poles in a nice order. And as you can see, he's stretching down pretty nicely over them. So he keeps on, well, except that one, it wasn't such a good example just there. But he doesn't really change very much his going over the pole. So that's what you would want to aim. Like here, that was pretty perfect. And yeah, I think that as well on the day, and I moved him away from the poles immediately. I thought, okay, that was brilliant. You can have a break now. So here I'm just asking a little bit better work. And that day I noticed myself that I tended to sometimes go a little bit past him on my position, and that was basically because I wasn't feeling so well. I was having a small cold here and feeling a bit tired overall and not so focused sometimes. So I did notice that, but that's me being ill, so I wasn't totally balanced myself that day, so that's why. And I thought I'd try the canter a couple times more here, just to train him a little bit better in the canter, see how it goes. And he has really relaxed, and that's really nice stretch, but you can see how he struggles with it still. So he comes back up and he finds it's very difficult, but he's improving, and it's getting a lot better, definitely. You get a nice, relaxed, low stretch and really good rhythm there. I quite like that. So I'm moving him back to the poles now. And just a couple more times. I thought, okay, he's now in the zone, back in the zone, and I just want to see how he looks over the poles. Couple more times before I change rein. So with the pole work, you would start with just one pole, obviously first, and you just want to see this how he goes over them very easily. It doesn't change his position or his rhythm or his going at all. He just when he finds it easy, then you can add some more poles, and that was so perfect indeed. I thought, okay, that's it. Just do a couple more rounds of trot, and then I'm gonna change rein. So yeah, you would start with just one pole and make sure that the horse can you see, actually, could you see there his back is starting to wave in the trot as he went past. That was just great. You can see here, hopefully there you can see it's just waving up and down there in the trot. So that was really nice to see there. Yeah, so with the pole work, you start with one pole, and once it's going really well over one pole, then you can add some more, maybe another pole, and you kind of work gradually your way up. Here I have 3 poles. I usually have 4, but this time I thought, oh, I'm just gonna have 3. I was a bit too tired to carry yet another pole since TJ wasn't helping me that day. And I usually also make it slightly difficult by lifting the poles up from one side for Pöly. So he can also do that pretty well. But that day, since I didn't have any help, it's really difficult to correct the poles if he happens to hit them and they go off their place. Then I would have to stop and repair and put everything back together and restart. So I thought, like, okay, I'm just gonna put them as ground poles for this video, so that I don't have to, hopefully I don't have to stop and correct everything again. And I didn't, so that was very good work from Pöly, that he didn't stumble or he didn't hit the poles at all, and he was working really well that day. So here I'm changing. These days I have little bits of carrot in my pocket. Sometimes I do have sugar cubes as well, but these days I had I had carrots. So he gets a small treat, and I get organized again. And we start with a little bit of walk work, just as before. Yeah, this walk work on the lunge is it has improved obviously a lot since the summer. He's a much more calmer, and he stays in the walk much better. And indeed, these days he does not have to go all the way down to the ground in walk for him to start using his back fully. So that is really good to see from when I'm lunging, that he doesn't have to. But I'm still expecting him to really stretch down quite deep, because it's always better. It activates always more and easier things. But indeed, today I just did a little bit of walk work, and I was happy when he was relaxed and a little bit stretchy before starting the trot work. And it's I agree, it's a little bit boring that I haven't really put up any commentary videos of my riding yet, but there's a reason to it. At the moment the saddle doesn't fit again, so we'll need to work on the saddle again before I can ride him properly. He has most likely, I'm not sure what's happened. I think he has widened his at his withers again, or he's starting to come up through his shoulders. One of those two is happening, because the saddle is we need to change it a little bit more at the moment to have it fitting properly. So what happened with the ridden work is that he doesn't want to canter. He doesn't want to trot. He does not want to trot properly anymore, and that was a very clear sign that there was something wrong with the saddle, and we quickly reacted to it. He's very sensitive to the saddle fit, so we caught it very early. And here you can see that I was just asking him to move on, but he decided, like, okay, I'll just canter. And I thought, okay, that's fine. Let's work on the canter then. And as you can see, it's going really nicely for his this being his right hand, which he finds cantering a lot more difficult on the right hand. And I'm really impressed how he has come up with his work on the canter here. And actually, I didn't ask for trot there. This last bit I did ask for trot, but you saw he was coming off the canter and he was going back on the canter. I didn't ask for trot there. And since I didn't ask, I usually ask him to canter on again, but he did that on his own accord. So he realized I hadn't asked, and he went back to canter himself, which was it was very nice to see. It was very nice that he was really trying to stay in the canter and canter properly. So it's great to see how he really tries. But it is hard. It is very hard work for him to go into the lowest stretch possible and canter properly with good enough energy. So I really appreciate his effort. And yeah, here I ask for more canter then. And he's pretty sprightly. But there, can you see, that's really lovely. I'm really impressed about that. But as you can see, he can't maintain it very long yet, but he's trying. And this is really good work from him. And then his stride is awesome after it. It's maybe a little bit too fast in the beginning there, but it slows down. Slows down a little bit. And it's got really nice stride. I keep him on a bigger circle on this hand as well for the canter work, because I know it's more difficult for him. So that's why we were in the biggest possible circle there. And here I bring him to the poles. And you can see that it is actually this side for pole work is easier for him. And the trot work is easier for him, this side. You can see that the back is moving much better. as well, and the back muscles are moving more on this side in the trot with him still. Or it could also be that he's more warmed up, obviously, but it does usually happen if I start on the right hand. His back moves much easier, even if I start on it. So you can see that's pretty nice pole work. I'm very pleased. He's really relaxing into it. That was pretty perfect. That's really nice, and I hope you can all see the movement in his back. And I thought indeed, I usually, when I think like, oh, that's pretty damn perfect, and then I usually just give him a break. And here I'm asking for more canter, but he finds it a little, he thinks that it's difficult. But there, do you see that transition? That was awesome. That was the first really excellent transition. It was a very short canter, but the transition was good. So that's something good. And he's really powering on in the trot. That's great. So he's a little bit looking out in the canter here on the right hand, and it just shows how difficult he finds it. So it's by no means optimal. It's work in progress, but it is improving. Yeah, and I'm bringing him back towards the poles again for the last couple rounds. And you can see me how my body posture is slightly in front of him and that. But yeah, as I said, I was a little bit ill that day. Not very sharp that day, but things worked really well anyway. Yep, that was pretty good. I think I thought like, okay, one more, and we're done. Yeah, that's it. That was really nice. I was really impressed by his work that day. It was just so easy for him to go over those poles, and that was excellent work. So we've gone from the snow and lovely weather to quite a dark and slightly warmer, just above the 0, so it's a bit muddy, and you can see his feet are a bit muddy still from the field. So luckily not too deep a mud in the field, so that's great. They're enjoying their time outside anyway. And I hope you can see here the movement of a back still. It's just coming more and more here in the end when he's really stretching totally down, and he has been working over the poles, so everything's really activated, and it's just waving there up and down. So that's excellent. I think I just was thinking one last canter here just to see how that's gone, or if he can still have energy for it. But he's getting a little bit tired, and I do notice, but I started asking, so I thought like, okay, let's have one canter, and then we can just take it easy and stop there. And as you can see, this session is well, just a little bit less than 20 minutes. And that was really, you can see that he's on the zone. He's really working well through his back, and his back is really bouncing, and that's well enough work for him. He was tired. He was getting tired enough, so that's where I stopped. So keep an eye on your horse and the level of tiredness you have, and stop in time. Okay, I hope this was interesting for you guys. See you next time. Bye.